Our story begins with two leaders from different backgrounds, both of whom rose to the highest office in the Philippines. Rodrigo Duterte, the bold mayor from Davao City, became the 16th president in 2016, promising big changes and to fight crime. His direct way of speaking was liked by Filipinos, so they called him Tatay Digong, which means Father Digong. On the other hand, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., son of former President Marcos Sr., took office as the 17th president in 2022. Marcos Jr.'s EANNA'S campaign was all about bringing people together. Marcos Jr. ran a smooth social media-focused campaign to improve his family's image. His win marked the Marcos family's return to power, helped by the solid North, a strong voting bloc, and a smart team-up with Sara Duterte. The Uniteam won big in the 2022 election, signaling a new time. The paths of these two men to Malacanang, the presidential palace, were shaped by their unique personalities and what the public wanted for change. Their different styles set the stage for a big shift in how the country is led. The Philippines watched as one era ended and another began, with each leader representing the hopes of their time. Which vision will shape the country's future? The answer lies with the people. President Duterte's leadership was known for being bold and direct. He was often unpredictable and loved a good fight, and power was very much centered around him. He spoke directly to the people, often without a script, issuing warnings and making strong statements. Cabinet members were expected to deliver quick results. If not, they would face public criticism. Duterte's style created admiration for his personality, where his word often became law. This direct connection with his supporters empowered them, but it also drew criticism for weakening institutions. On the other hand, President Marcos Jr. shows a more traditional and collaborative leadership. He prefers formal meetings, formal press briefings, and relies on a team of experts. Marcos Jr. delegates power, showing a government that works together and is organized. His administration emphasizes process, stability, and building agreement. Duterte's leadership was lively but unpredictable, driven by personal missions. Meanwhile, Marcos Jr. thought business is measured, aiming for professionalism and predictability. Critics say Marcos Jr.'s style might seem distant, but supporters welcome the return to normal. The change shows a clear move away from Duterte's populist leadership towards a more traditional presidency. The country is now experiencing a new rhythm in leadership. Less show, more structure. Duterte's early years saw steady economic growth, boosted by the Build infrastructure program and tax reforms. These efforts created jobs and boosted activity, but also led to higher prices for some goods. The pandemic hit hard, causing a big economic downturn, job losses, and a rise in national debt. Financial aid programs helped, but recovery was slow and inflation went up. By the end of Duterte's term, economic gains were overshadowed by the pandemic's effects. Marcos Jr. took over an economy still recovering from COVID-19, with inflation and high living costs as top worries. His government prioritized food security, targeted aid, and appointed respected economic managers. The Build Better More program continued the push for infrastructure, aiming to attract foreign investment and create jobs. Marcos Jr. actively promoted the Philippines abroad, seeking new investments. Progress has been made, but inflation and living costs remain a big challenge. The success of his economic plan relies on handling these ongoing issues while building on Duterte's foundations. Both leaders faced unique economic storms. Duterte with a pandemic, Marcos Jr. with global inflation. Their responses show their leadership styles: bold and direct versus careful and cooperative. The country's well-being now depends on dealing with these ongoing challenges. Duterte's presidency was known for his war on drugs, an aggressive campaign that led to thousands of deaths and drew criticism from other countries. Human rights groups said that extrajudicial killings were widespread, while the Duterte administration insisted it was a necessary fight. The International Criminal Court launched an investigation, which pushed Duterte to pull the Philippines out of the Rome Statute. His supporters saw his defiance as protecting sovereignty. Critics saw a lack of accountability. Marcos Jr. changed the tone, promising to focus on prevention, rehabilitation, and targeting big drug lords. Reports of violent operations have gone down, signaling a move away from Duterte's approach. However, the administration remains firm against cooperating with the ICC, insisting on justice within the country. Human rights groups argue that justice for victims remains out of reach. The tone has changed, but the issue of accountability remains. The war on drugs continues to divide the nation. The question of justice and reform remains unsolved. The story is far from over. There was a big shift in the Philippines' foreign policy under Duterte. He moved away from the US and closer to China and Russia. He didn't focus much on the 2016 Hague ruling that favored the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea, and instead chose to work with China on economic matters. Critics accused him of giving up sovereignty for money, while his supporters saw it as practical diplomacy. Marcos Jr. changed this approach and became firmer in defending the Philippines' rights in the West Philippine Sea. He was open about protesting China's actions and reporting incidents of harassment. At the same time, Marcos Jr. worked to strengthen ties with the US, expanding military cooperation and strengthening alliances. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement now gives US forces access to more bases to balance China's influence. Marcos Jr. wants a more balanced foreign policy, working with China on economic matters while strengthening security ties with the US. Many Filipinos who want a stronger defense of national interests have welcomed this change. Now, the Philippines is navigating a complex global situation, balancing its relationships with world powers. The country's foreign policy is once again at the center of regional dynamics. The challenge to assert sovereignty without giving up economic opportunities. The stakes have never been this high. The world is watching. The COVID-19 pandemic changed Duterte's presidency, leading to strict lockdowns and a military-style response. This approach helped stop the virus from spreading, but it also got a lot of criticism for being too strict and hurting the economy. The vaccine rollout was slow at first, and had problems with getting things where they needed to be. But eventually, most of the people got vaccinated. Aid programs helped, but many people said it wasn't enough. Marcos Jr. had the challenge of leading the country into a new normal. His government changed how it handled COVID-19, treating it like a common illness, making rules less strict, and focusing on getting the economy back on track. Now the health sector is focusing on booster shots and making the system strong for future crises. Marcos Jr. also dealt with rising gas prices and food shortages by giving out specific aid and creating special groups to handle the problems. Getting ready for disasters became important again in a country that often gets hit by natural disasters. The new way of doing things is more about experts and different government groups working together, moving away from Duterte's centralized, security-focused style. The main goal is now long-term strength and handling crises well. The lessons learned from the pandemic continue to shape what the country does. Duterte's Build program aimed to change the country's infrastructure, create jobs, and connect regions. Big projects like Skyway Stage 3 and Clark International Airport helped ease traffic and boost growth. Critics pointed out that many projects started under past governments and raised worries about growing debt. Even with challenges, infrastructure became a national priority and a symbol of progress. Marcos Jr. promised to continue and improve this legacy through Build, Better, More. The new program focuses on being sustainable, climate resilient, and advanced technology. Public-private partnerships are now central to funding, reducing the need for government borrowing. Key projects include the North-South Commuter Railway and Metro Manila Subway. The goal: better connections, economic growth, and improved quality of life. The challenge is timely, transparent completion, and accountability. Success will define Marcos Jr.'s legacy. Infrastructure remains at the heart of the nation's progress. The future is being built, one project at a time. The transfer of power from Duterte to Marcos Jr. was marked by a theme of unity and continuation. The Uniteam Alliance, with Sara Duterte as vice president, won by a lot and showed that policies would continue. Many officials and programs from Duterte's time stayed, which gave supporters a sense of stability. Building new things and the stand on the ICC continued. However, there were changes in how things were done and what was said. Marcos Jr.'s tone became more diplomatic and less confrontational, especially in how he dealt with other countries. He made ties with the US stronger and was more firm on the West Philippine Sea issue. The focus of the war on drugs changed to helping people recover and catching big drug dealers, with fewer violent events. The leadership style became more formal and listened to advice more, moving away from Duterte's popular strongman image. The new government mixed Duterte's popular policies with a more traditional way of doing things. The result, it was more like things slowly changing, not a sudden big change. The country is watching this new chapter unfold. If we compare Duterte and Marcos Jr., we can see that some things continued and some things changed. Duterte's leadership, which was bold and for the people, brought order and new infrastructure, but it came with issues of human rights and the state of democracy. Marcos Jr., on the other hand, is calmer and more diplomatic. He continued some important policies while fixing relationships with other countries. The new administration faces inflation, economic recovery, and deep political division. Judging who is better depends on what is important to you. The quick decision of a bold leader or careful diplomacy. Order or human rights. practicality, or principles. The legacies of these two leaders are shaping the present and future of the country. The Philippines is at a crossroads, with choices that will define future generations. The facts are clear, but the judgment is personal. As citizens, it's important to stay informed and involved. Understanding these leaders will help us face future challenges. The final judgment rests with the people.